Hey, hello, hello, hello. Wow, let me see if I can do this without these. There we go. I can. Hey, wow. So today we're going to talk a bit about daily practices, and what brings this up for me is that today, I'm 1 year today. Tomorrow actually was a year ago. Tomorrow I started doing this daily thing, um, and it's been so good for me. I had no idea when I started. We started last May, and I thought COVID was kind of rampant, and I thought that this would. Hi, is it Giselle? Is that how you say it? I think so. Hi, Giselle. COVID was rampant, and last May people were locked down. We were all kind of afraid. We didn't know what was going on. There was lots of confusion, and I remember it was really a crazy time, April, May, and I thought, well, let's just do something consistent for a little while, and that my friends can kind of click into, or people in recovery can click into, and so I started doing this and reading this book a year ago tomorrow. So today's the last day I'm going to do this. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. I have an idea that we're going to do something, but I don't know what it is. So I have a couple of books that the Tao by Stephen Mitchell has some, 81 um, pages of just short things that are amazing that I wouldn't mind reading. There's different things, but what I wanted to talk about is daily practices. You know, um, how do we, when we come into recovery, or we start on the spiritual path, we have an experience. Maybe we go to a workshop and we have this experience where we feel amazing and we feel the love, and then we go home, and a couple of weeks later it's gone, and we're back in the same old situation. And the same thing happens with the addict and the alcoholic. He goes to a treatment center, and he gets some information and he feels good, or in desperation he comes to the 12-step program, and really starts to do the work because he has to, he's drowning, and then I have a friend that calls it the trifecta. He get the addict or the alcoholic, especially the young fellas, they get a car, they get a job, and they get a girlfriend, and they're gone. And it all is well for a few days, and then the shit hits the fan. Whatever, they lose the job, you know the girlfriend leaves, or something happens, and they have no foundation. And how do we build a spiritual foundation? And we build a spiritual foundation by doing the steps. Step 10 and 11 are really speak of daily practices, and so we have to have daily practices, or we're screwed. We really do. And so what are we doing? We're doing prayer, setting the intention for the day. We're asking in our prayer to be guided in each moment, to be steered clear of fear and selfishness and self-centeredness. We in our daily practices, we're talking to other folks, in recovery. It's important. In the evening, we review our day. We make amends if needed. We talk to our sponsor or pillar about what needs to be talked about, and we clean things up on a daily basis. And what happens is we're doing this in the morning, at night, these practices. Eventually, this becomes integrated into our system, and we don't need to wait till the end of the day to make an amend. We don't need to. We're kind of in review all the time. We grow in awareness and consciousness. We grow in presence. We grow in God consciousness, and so that happens. But it takes, we have to kind of work at it. We do have to work at it. I had a young fellow that had been away for a while up north and come back and really hadn't been doing his practices, hadn't been, and had really got off track. And um, and so we had quite a discussion about it, and eventually he could see it, but it was hard because ego gets in there and says, you know what, I don't need to do all these things. I got this, and that's okay, I guess, for normal folks, but for the addict and the alcoholic, when we say, "Fuck it, I got this," we're in trouble. We're we're on our way back to the pipe or the bottle, or whatever it is our addiction was. So that's it. Daily practices, you guys. I think that there's, as we grow in recovery, there's nothing more important. How do we stay tuned in? How do we stay in the um, our God consciousness and connection? There, it isn't about what we're doing on the outside. Another fellow called me yesterday or today, I forget when, and he said, I think if I stop eating meat, I think that's got me out of sync. And eat meat, don't eat meat, it doesn't really matter as long as we have our our relationship with our higher power. And whatever we see that to be, chew tobacco, whatever, drink a lot of coffee, who gives a shit? That those things aren't the things that take us out. We lose the connection, and when we're in the connection, just want to share this with you. When in a daily basis, our vibration actually lifts. It really does. We lift from the lower vibration, which is often with what's in the lower vibration: guilt, shame, fear. Um, then fear has a million names, anxiety, stress. if if you're stressed, know that you're running the show. Okay, know that. Just if you're wondering, am I living in a God conscious way? Am I living life on life's terms? Know that if you're feeling stressed, you're you're off the beam. Stress is it's interesting. And so what do we do for stress? Well, they give you pills, right? Anyway, I want to make fun of that. I mean, sometimes anxiety, fear can be very, it's hard, and it's hard to see how a relationship with a higher power on a daily basis and daily practices can lift us out of that, and I mean, I've had guys say often, oh, my anxiety's different. Well, try this. This is a recipe that's been handed down through the ages that works. And so I forget where I was going with that. Anyway, things from the outside don't really can't heal us in a way. Practices do, and there's lots of them. I mean, even taking the time to exercise is a good practice. We can be present in our exercise. Is yoga good? Yes, yoga's great. We can be present in our yoga. And as long as we're there, we're not doing it to get something. We're there to be there. The same with everything that we do. Okay, I'm going to read. I'm excited to read this last day. I have no idea. This whole time I never read the daily reading before this little talk. And it was always fun to see if the daily reading would be in any way kind of relate to the talk. So we'll see whatever it says. So April 30th. It is April 30th, isn't it? Is it really? Yes, it is. My gosh, the last day of April. Yes. So it says here, the 12-step program, or the AA program, because this is written in 1954. This is a little old book. It was written a long time ago. The AA program is one of faith, because we find that we must have faith in a power greater than ourselves if we're going to live sober. We're going to live at all. We're helpless before the ego. We're helpless before the drugs or the alcohol, whatever our symptom was. But when we turn our problems in our life over to God, our drink problem, it says here, over to God, and have faith that He can give us all the strength we need, then we have the problem licked. Boom. Just like that. Then we have the problem licked. Faith in that divine principle in the universe, which we all call God. And I call it a lot of things: universal intelligence, consciousness, Father of light, my employer. I call it a lot of things because, Bill Wilson said, God either is or He isn't. Either He's everything or He's nothing. What is our choice to be? And it was what a great closing statement. Okay, He's everything. So it says, I missed that last line. Faith in that divine principle in the universe which we call God. So he also called it different names. That's beautiful. Is the essential part of the 12-step program. Is faith still strong in me? Yes. And faith is built through daily practices, right? Meditation for the day. Every person, it says, is a child of God. As such, is full of promise of spiritual growth. Every person is a child of God, and as such, is full of promise of spiritual growth. When a person is young, he's like the springtime of the year. The full time of the fruit is not yet, but there is promise of the blossom. There is the spark of the divine in every one of us. Each has some of God's Spirit, which can be developed by spiritual exercise, daily practices. Know that your life is full of glad promise. Such blessings can be yours, such joys, such wonders, as long as you develop in the sunshine of God's love. Prayer for the day. Let me read that last line again. Such blessings can be yours, such joys, such wonders, as long as you develop in the sunshine of God's love. So again, developing in the sunshine of God's love would be daily practices. Beautiful. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may develop the divine spark within me. I pray that by so doing I may fulfill the promise of a more abundant life. Beautiful. Thank you, little book. The man who wrote this is interesting. Never put his name in it. His name is not in it. It's beautiful. So, that's it. We're finished reading that little book. It's beautiful. I thank you to that writing, and we're going to do a short meditation. I'd love it if you join me. And yeah, just, the whole thing about having a meditation time, about sitting quietly, is that's how we make our connection. That's how we feel, the oneness with the light, with the universal intelligence, with the stillness, the isness, with that cannot be described. We can't say what that is. I am that I am, he says. Okay, so just sit quietly for a couple of minutes. Like, we're just talking 3 or 4 minutes here, okay? So just try and find a space, a quiet space, where you can just drop into this moment, drop into this nothingness, this oneness. I'm in this beautiful setting with the birds behind me. It's beautiful. Grateful to be here. Just let the sounds bring you into this moment. Be here now. Sounds of the birds surrounding me are beautiful. just drop into this moment. Use your breath to bring yourself back. Observe your thoughts. Remember, we're not our thoughts. Thoughts are random. They're like children trying to get your attention. Hey, I'm over here, I'm over here. Just let them go, they'll be fine. You can stay as long as you like in this space. It's beautiful. I love you. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being with me for this year of readings. We'll see what wants to happen tomorrow. I truly don't know. Love you lots. Thanks.